So welcome back to the class Computational Neuroscience, Neuronal Dynamics of Cognition. Before we continue with the mathematical development, I need to explain you why we can think of the cortex as a spatial continuum. In fact, in the visual cortex, there are many different populations. Neurons have localized receptive fields, different neurons have different receptive fields, nearby neurons have similar receptive fields. Neurons will also have different preferred orientations, which means different responses to a oriented light bar. And so if you build a model, a couple of questions arise. So how many populations should we choose in the model? Are there discrete populations in the first place, or should we rather think of a continuum? So just as a review, if you have one single neuron and it has a receptive field sitting here, and then we turn a light bar slowly around, then we find that the firing rate of the neuron is maximal at one specific orientation, and this is the preferred orientation of this neuron. Now, importantly, neighboring neurons have similar receptive fields and similar preferred orientations. So if I look at the flattened out visual cortex, and if I walk around this dashed line, I would first see neurons that have a preferred orientation horizontal, then maybe 30 degree, then maybe 60 degree, then maybe 90 degree, and so forth. So the responses, if we walk around, change. Now if I give a certain stimulus, for example, at this location here, different cells will respond. There's a response from this cell, it will be that much. There is the response of this cell here, which responds this much. There's the response of this cell here, which responds that much. So many cells from different columns or with different preferred orientation respond to a single stimulus with a slightly different rate. So in a way, this idea of discrete columns is a bit misleading. So instead of thinking of discrete columns where all these neurons here prefer horizontal, all these prefer 60 degree, we should rather think of a continuum where different neurons have different preferred orientations. And I would like to take this as a motivation and as a starting point to develop a mathematical model of a continuum of population activity. And this will be the field model, which is the main topic of this week's lecture.